Let's get this started. It's cold out here. I'm ready to go inside. Before I even get started, I already got my jig mounted up on my anvil. I have found that welding these jigs up on a piece of angle iron, I can use the C-clamp, just attach them to my anvil if I want, or I can attach them in my vise. Now this is just a small piece of angle iron welded onto a larger piece of angle iron and a piece of pipe. And you'll see how it's used here in a little bit. The starting stock is a piece of 5/16 rod, 5 inches long approximately. Now for sure you could use 3/8 or whatever. You can use square stock if you want to put a twist in your handle. Use whatever you want. Let's get this hot and get started. Now we'll start this out with a short taper. Two-sided taper. We'll get the far edge of the anvil. Now, put that back in the fire. Normally I can do this in one heat, but we're going to go to the horn now. I'll do one of them with these close-ups and then do the other end like I want. Now with the rounding side of the hammer, I'm going to put one of those angles down and draw that down right behind the taper to probably about 1/8 of an inch. Come back with my flat side of my hammer, round that off, of course going to octagon, switch over to my rounding side and bring that round on up that stem. And there we go, that's one side complete. Now we'll do the same thing to the other end. Now I'll back this off. So we can see the whole process. Try to do these on the same plane, but if you can't, we can make a little twist and correct it. So, short taper. Rounding side. Draw it down. Flat side, octagon, take off those corners, back to the rounding side, take off those corners, good enough. Back in the fire, and They're not on the same plane, but like I said, we can fix it. Now, working on the diamond, we're going to flare that out just like we're making a leaf. Rounding side of the hammer. Now that one looks okay. However, now is the time, if you want to, take a file and work out any bumps that you have that you don't want. That's what I'm going to say is okay. So we'll do the other side. Once again, rounding face on the diamond. Try to make them look halfway alike. That's pretty close. Now, one of them is not on the same plane. This one's laying flat and this one's cocked up. So now's the time to fix that. We'll just take that, grab the holt of it, and twist it around. That's pretty close right there. Now, any work you do that's going to affect that small area there, now do it hot. Now, next step, straighten that up a little bit. We'll bend this over at a 90. Like I said, do that hot. You don't want any undue stress on that small part right there. Back in the fire with that leaf pointing up so as to control the heat on it a little bit. Now we'll hook that right there, grab a hold of it, bend it around that form until we're all the way around to where the handle's going straight parallel with the base. Now that popped up a little bit, that's no big deal. Straighten that out, and we'll do the other side. Now the way I've got this jig set up here with this piece of angle iron being offset, you can do two different heights on the handle itself. If you hook it on this side and bring it around this, it's a little bit taller. If you hook it on this side and bring it on this way, it's a little bit shorter. According to what you're wanting your handle to do. So we'll do the same thing. We'll take that over at a 90-degree angle. Got a little bit crooked on me there. Need more heat. Get on there, grab a hold of it, bring that around. You want to make sure you don't get any bulges right in here. There we go. Now we can flatten that handle out a little bit on top. Now set it on the anvil. Now I've got one of these is poked out just a little bit, so let's straighten that around. Now set it flat on the anvil. Just make sure that your leaves are setting flat, and with the exception of wire brush finish, drilling a hole, that one's done. Now I'll do the other handle while you're sitting right there so you can see the whole process. Okay, short taper. Rounding side, draw that down. Flat side, make it round. Back to the rounder, follow it up the taper. And flip it over and do the other side. Okay then, short taper. Rounding face. Flat face. Take off those corners. Back to the rounder. And let's make one flat. Now, rounding side of the hammer. File that down. How close this one is to the other handle in relation to the other handle you just made, if they're a pair, is directly relational to the distance between them when they're on whatever they're on. If the eye can only pick up one at a time, they don't have to be all that close. Of course, attempt to not burn your finger while you're doing this. That's always best. You do that now, it's a lot easier to hold on to it, plus all that shining you get on there from working it with a file gets taken out in the heats that you're going to do bending the handle. 90 degree. Hook that on there. Just like that. Yeah, that one buckled up quite a bit, but we can fix that. That leaf was twisted up just a little bit. Take that down. Now we'll set them on the anvil. Get them flat. Throw it on the ground. And they're done, except for cleaning them up and putting a hole in them. And I'll wire brush those. And we'll put a little finish on, man. That finish is cold today. And the steel's just a little bit too hot for it. This finish is 1 cup of turpentine, 1 cup of boiled linseed oil, 1 cup of furniture paste wax, and a half a cup of beeswax, and 2 tablespoons of Japan dryer. Now you put it on with your steel being just about too hot to handle, and that's about it. Get it coated real good. And then wipe off the excess. With that mixture, this is not sticky to the touch. It actually dries to a hard finish, and it smells good. You don't want it to where it boils the finish. You want it to where it melts it, and that just assures a nice even coat flows on it all. Want to cover that finish up because it will dry out if you don't. So there we go. Said other than drilling a hole, I'll put a little center punch, drill a 3/16 inch hole. Now I've got some slotted rounded screws for those, and they're done. Nice little drawer pull or door handle. Now, like I said, you can hook this on this side. Let me zoom in here. On this, the way this jig's made, you can hook it on this side like I just did and get a nice tall handle, or you can hook it on this side and get a shorter handle if you want. Now, for sure, you can do whatever. I've got one set of these I made. I just flattened this part out in between. Now, if you do any drawing out in here, you might want to go with less stock. This 5 inches here makes a nice 4-fingered handle. As you can see, if you want a drawer pull, you could go with a shorter piece of stock. You can certainly go with a square piece and put some twists in it. Do whatever you want, dress it up. But that's what we're doing here, is this. Have any questions? Fire them at me down there in the comments. Yeah. I'm going to go drill these and I'm done. And let's put a center punch close to the center. That one's off. But it'll be okay. That one wouldn't look too bad. And now we'll drill them. Now for sure, you can punch these holes if you want. Oh, my drill press is cold here this morning. Drilling a 3/16 inch hole because I'm using a 3/16 inch screw. So we can clean up the back side of those. Now if these are going to be used in an outdoor setting, you'd probably want to apply that finish after you do this drilling. Or use some kind of a paint or a lacquer finish. Now, no self-respecting blacksmith would use drywall screws. Get you some of these slot round ones. A lot more correct in your hardware. Let's put those screws in that one. I'll put something in the description about where I get these screws and my rivets. So there we go, 2 handles. Now what I'll do is, I'll get a small piece of tape here. I've got a cousin that makes cutting boards and all kinds of stuff, and he uses these on his serving trays. He makes some serving trays out of whiskey barrel lids. So we'll put those screws in that piece of masking tape so they don't get lost. And we're done.